From the nostalgic haze of the 2000s, many films are idealized, their flaws lost to time. In an all but forgotten DVD store, two dedicated employees seek truth in these rose-tinted films. They are James and Alex. These are their reviews.
10 years, and not a single guy has ever stepped into this DVD house.
I mean, look, let's be honest. It's a 24-hour one, so we've got the times for it, but we don't really have the customers. I feel like we're long overdue for a new movie drop. So what's the time right now? It's getting pretty close to 3. As I said, it is 24 hours, so we're gonna be here for a long time. But I don't know. What do we think is gonna drop through today?
Well, our mystery return man, he's dropped so many things through that shoot. He's dropped Casablanca, he's dropped Citizen Kane, he's dropped Kong, he's dropped Kong Skull Island, he's dropped other Kongs.
King Kong, the Peter Jackson one as well. Or was that just Kong? They all blend into one, all of the big old monkey movies.
I think they all have the Empire State Building except Skull Island, and I think Skull Island was metaphorical of the Empire State Building.
I think when I saw John Goodman, he looks like the Empire State Building in that movie.
John
that man
Goodman
is built.
John Goodman is an American icon on the same level as the Empire State Building, if I'm being honest, in both respect and the way he conducts lightning from the sky.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what the fuck. What? All right, I feel like we're getting a little bit off. All right, there's regardless, we're gonna have a drop pretty soon, and hey, what the hell was that noise?
Clunk.
Whoa, that's you know what that sound is? That's the movie drop sound, and it looks like the mystery man has returned, and with yet another masterpiece. What do we got there for us, James?
Oh, jeez. Oh man. Oh God. This is incredible. This is perhaps the greatest film I've ever seen drop through this shoot. It surpasses all others. It is an American icon. It is an Australian icon. It is an English icon.
What?
It is Tim Allen's
Oh, wait.
The Shaggy Dog.
Tim Allen? The Tim Allen?
The Tim Allen.
Of Zoom fame.
Of Santa Claus fame.
Of Santa Claus 2 fame?
Of Santa Claus 3 fame.
The Escape Clause fame.
Yes.
Hey, cool. All right. Well, with that in mind, well, okay. Look, I'll be honest. I am so excited to see this movie. When did that even come out? It was 2006, I think. Yeah.
2006. Smack bang of the decade. Just the 2000s in general were a rich, diverse swamp of talent.
It was a real quagmire of stardom is what I'd call it.
And Tim Allen was the swamp dragon that lay there, hoarding his movie talent for all to enjoy.
Exactly. I mean, if there's one word that I'd use to describe Tim Allen, it's horrendous
Republican.
swamp dragon. What?
Horrendous dragon.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good. So 2006, the turn of the century, obviously. Wow.
Will Smith's album, Millennium, dropped that year.
In the millennium. That was the new millennium.
Well, it was 7 years earlier, but that year, Millennium dropped.
It can't be a coincidence at this point. My God.
All fates converged on 2006.
And yet here we are. 13 years later, we haven't seen the movie yet. I mean, we haven't seen it for yonkers, I think is the technical term for it.
I don't believe it is. But indeed, I have not seen this film in many, many years. And I think it's fascinating looking back at it, considering that if you remember the film, you can remember that the main villain of the film is Robert Downey Jr., which now we're at the end of the Infinity Saga of the MCU. It's just baffling how he took such a step down to go to the MCU.
It's, when you're such an accomplished actor as Robert Downey Jr., I mean, being in things like The Shaggy Dog and being such an accomplished actor, it's really important that you kind of help out the smaller businesses, like Marvel. It was struggling at the time with the Incredible Hulk. I think came out that year.
Yes,
And
the Incredible Hulk.
That was a flop. And so you know what he thought to himself?
How dare you?
The Shaggy Dog came out, and he was riding hot off the heels of it. And he thought to himself, you know what? I'm gonna go save yet another franchise. Not that the Shaggy Dog needed to be saved. No, sir. Tim Allen was there.
Despite being on its third reboot.
Yeah, exactly.
Overall. 50s, 80s, mid-2000s, also known as the noughties for you fellows. You know, even though it was on its third remake, it really didn't need any help. But Robert Downey Jr. was kind enough to lend Disney his hands, his paws, and his heart to give it all he had and make a masterpiece.
And just like that, he'll never work again. So that's a damn shame. But at least he started with the Shaggy Dog, and he kind of just, as we said, he kind of went downhill. But I want to clarify as well. I've seen the back of this DVD. I've seen a lot of taglines in my time. Being a devout DVD worker myself.
An aficionado of slogans, in fact. You did your PhD on DVD slogans, as I recall.
Exactly, or a tag linear, as it were, or taglines for you uncultured folk. And I'd just like to read this one here for you. The Shaggy Dog raised the woof.
I believe it would be pronounced raise the woof, as it sounds like roof, because no one says woof, roof. That's dumb.
But see, here's the problem, okay? I love this movie, I really do. But when you say raised, because right, the word's woof. That's at least how I'd pronounce it.
Yes.
And I feel like if you're in America, you also say woof, don't you? I don't know. I'm not from America.
I would probably say hello because I'm a human and not a dog.
Well, with that in mind,
I feel like the tagline then fails on multiple levels, as not only would humans never say something like that, but a talking dog would also never pronounce it like that.
Well, that's true.
So, realistically, I guess it's the only true failure of the film is the tagline.
Yeah. And so, thankfully, whoever that was, absolutely got fired. They've been beheaded by Tim Allen himself. I think probably with the script for his next Santa Claus film, which ended up also getting the axe. So,
which could be done as the film contained lots of razor sharp wit.
Wow, zing! That's one right there. And all right, now lastly as well, I do want to clarify. Tim Allen, he's had a pretty, like, I'm not gonna lie. Toy Story obviously was a big one, but he's had a pretty successful career both before and after the. Why are you making that noise?
Well, you know, I would say that perhaps that the Shaggy Dog was the last live-action Tim Allen film of any note.
What, the final bastion of his career? This is his. What do you mean by the final? I mean, he's done other movies though. Like he's done stuff after 2006. He's still alive. But
off the top of your head, can you think of any of them?
I mean, the Santa Claus 3 came out like a couple of months after.
But did it?
Yeah, and it was like Crazy on the Outside. It was a comedy movie from like 2009, 10. I don't know. That was there.
I don't remember any of these films. So I believe my point kind of still stands, unless you've got any other.
The Six Wives of Henry LaFay.
Who's Henry LaFay?
El Camino. Hang on, El Camino Christmas was pretty good.
I never heard El Camino Christmas. I might be in the wrong here. El Camino Christmas might be a public holiday in other parts of the world, but to me, Tim Allen is a figure of the past. He is the gatekeeper to the golden treasures of the past. If the conquistadors had travelled to South America and had found Tim Allen, they would have been satisfied that he is their city of gold.
Sorry, I just took a sip of water as soon as he went on this. He went on this horrific tangent. All right. For a second here, I actually just want to clarify. I've scrolled down to the bottom of his little, Google Movies thing.
Yeah.
There's a movie here which is just called Chimpanzee. All right. The movie, all it is just a photo of an incredibly close-up chimpanzee. I kind of don't want to put any more research into it though. I just like to think Tim Allen, chimpanzee. It's just the two words are synonymous by this stage.
I feel like with chimpanzee, they kind of set a camera up on Tim Allen and just watched him go at it, day-to-day life, and they sat down in front of the executives and we're like, okay, this is Tim Allen. What kind of animal does he represent?
This man is an animal, but which one?
You know, they had those kind of cardboard kind of cards as pig, tortoise, hare, jackal.
All those cardboard cards that everyone has in their back pockets.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry, I just wanted to clarify.
And
yeah.
an executive goes, this one. They look at it. It's the chimpanzee.
Executive, admittedly blind, but still, clairvoyant in his card reading nature.
Yeah.
He decides chimpanzee, that's the one.
It's the one. And I feel that's how I'd like to imagine the movie anyway. Because with a film title of Chimpanzee, it's got to be bad.
I would like to say as well, I'm almost certain we started this by talking about the Shaggy Dog. We've already gone 6 years ahead and a completely different animal. But
realistically, this shows Tim Allen's range. From dog to chimpanzee. Can you think of any two animals farther apart?
That, you know what? I honestly could try, but I don't think I will. And for now, I
couldn't.
That's completely... Yeah, I could not. My
One has hooves, the other does not.
Which one had... What? One of them has...
So the Shaggy Dog, as a film, I would consider fantastic.
Yeah, look... yeah, absolutely. I remember it, sort of. Admittedly, I saw it the year it came out. Haven't seen it since. But I mean, look, we've got it in front of us. I think it's just without a doubt. I think it's time.
Yeah, the Shaggy Dog is really ingrained in the cultural lexicon to the extent that I could probably tell you a lot about the film without having watched it in over 13 years, because it's just this kind of magnum opus of comedy that, everyone our age, even older, younger, is kind of there. It's in the important parts of their brain. The stuff that the brain... It's like riding a bike. You never forget how to ride a bike. You never forget the Shaggy Dog. You never forget the Shaggy Dog.
And I think with that in mind as well, before we press play on this movie, we've got a couple of hours to kill, so the sun's still not even up. But before we press play on this film, I would just like to clarify, in this I guess social sphere of 2019, when someone says, "Oh, so have you seen the Shaggy Dog?" You don't really have to say yes or no. The answer's kind of already clear. You look around. You just tell them, look around. You can see the Shaggy Dog everywhere. You see it in media. You see it in media, and you see it most importantly, but not completely confined to media. Yeah?
You forgot the most important part.
Oh, hang on. Sorry, I apologize.
Media.
Thank you. Well, with that in mind, we're going to hit the play button, and we'll jump on back in a little bit, and let's see if it's just as beautiful, if not more so, than culture defines it as.
I really, really hate to say it, but The Shaggy Dog is not a good film.
My condolences to the filmmakers, honestly. Not all of them, though. One of the main producers was actually Tim Allen, if I'm not mistaken. And it shows.
It's really got Tim Allen's mark on it, I'd say.
Yeah, take that how you will. But look, all right, okay, let's be real. We'll go over a couple of
the highlights.
Yeah, the highlights, and then we can get into the lowlights, and we'll maybe give a bit of a run through of the film as we saw it.
I think we both have the same main golden highlight of the film, that being the man, the myth, the legend, Baxter.
Obviously, okay. I'm glad that we're on the same page there. Now, look, Baxter. For those of you who don't know, if you've somehow been living under the largest rock known to man and haven't seen the Shaggy Dog, like we hadn't for the last 13 years, Baxter is the name of the neighbor. I'm pretty sure. If it's not Baxter, I'm gonna be sad. But
I'm pretty sure it's Baxter.
All right, so we've got a fairly large chance that it's gonna be Baxter, and with that in mind, Baxter is the name of Tim Allen's neighbor in this movie. Now, in every single film, especially ones that are kind of Disney inspired, not ones that are kind of made for kids and stuff, there's always going to be an arc, a bit of a hero's arc. Obviously, you've got the selfish workaholic father who ends up becoming a selfless family man by the end of the film, all through a series of big old shenanigans and wacky know-hows and whatnot and whatevers. So that all happens throughout the film, obviously, but there's always a subplot to films like this, which is really what the adults want to get into. And in this case, I feel like there was a bit of a tragedy in this film.
It was to mirror the hero's journey. Tim Allen being our titular hero, the Shaggy Dog. There's also the fall of the hero, which was reflected in Baxter, his story. Now, Baxter, while stealing the show,
without a doubt,
his tragedy took place in 3 acts. Those 3 acts being 3 scenes of the movie, maybe 4 if I recall, but it was no more than 4 scenes in the film.
Yeah,
it was very, very short. But the actor who was pretty much, I got a very big Will Arnett vibe from him. So kind of a discount Will Arnett. He had that energy, and he stole the show every time he was there.
Yeah, I mean, when we do say every time he was there, I do want to point out he was only there for about 3 or 4 scenes. So
a total of 10 minutes, maybe overall.
I'd push in 10 minutes.
Pushing 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's a bold claim.
5 minutes.
Yeah,
maybe.
All right. Yeah, I reckon somewhere between that mark. I think it really takes a Shakespearean or a true thespian actor, I would say, not just Shakespearean, but just age-old, timeless sense of acting, to really, I don't know, carry such a beautiful and such a tragic arc in such a short period of time. Because most Shakespearean
it's incredibly
plays,
impressive.
Yeah, you don't see that from your Robert Downey Jr.'s. Boy, and we'll get to him in a second.
Oh God.
But
disappointing performance is all I have to say.
To
wet your whistle.
We're gonna have to break this bad boy down. We're gonna have to, honestly. There was something 2-year difference maybe between Shaggy Dog and Iron Man. For all we know, could have been filmed at the same time. All I can say is, boy, I hope they weren't, because I think Robert Downey Jr. had to take some serious acting lessons between TSD being the Shaggy Dog. I'm never going to refer to it as that again, I promise. But between the Shaggy Dog and Iron Man, there was just... It was like we were watching...
he needed acting lessons more so than he needed to get help recovering from the prolonged stroke he was having the entire film.
There were a lot of facial expressions that man had, which didn't really lend themselves to the character at all.
We're getting a bit ahead of ourselves.
We'll reel it back in.
Baxter, Baxter was really the highlight of the film. It was very small role, so we didn't get sick of him. And every time he had something snarky to say, something kind of amusing to say, and the way the actor delivered them was very funny, I thought.
Yeah, it always brought light to the ever dull scenes of the Shaggy Dog, which not always dull, but it definitely brought.
It was very flat. The film was a very flat, uninspired kind of your bog standard Disney Channel family film. There wasn't anything special about it. It was very adherent to the formula. The actors really didn't do anything special. Apart from, I'd say the second highlight was Tim Allen.
Oh, definitely.
You'd think a lot of actors would kind of phone it in at this age, and especially with a film like this. Tim Allen really, if he was phoning it in, damn good at it.
Yeah.
And he's really hiding it well. He really put a lot of energy into the role. You could see, his face light up when he was pretending to be the dog. He really enunciated his words very well for an old man.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's probably in this film, he's honestly pushing maybe 90, maybe 95?
120?
Yeah, I didn't want to overshoot it. I was honestly about to say about 140, but look, while we're on the topic, he's probably about 500 in this film, and it's really impressive to see that you really, as we said earlier, you can teach an old dog new tricks. And in Tim Allen's case, I guess you can teach a wild hog new tricks. And I say that in all sincerity and in all deliberation. What's the word for it? Deliberacy? When I'm being deliberate about something. What am I... Anyway, so I was being deliberate about...
I'll just let him keep digging this hole for himself.
I've just... all right. I've got my drill here, and I'm going to just drill a hole until I strike gold. It's going to happen, so just let me run. Wild Hogs came out, I believe, the following year, 2007.
Yes, it did.
John Travolta...
a Scientologist.
Yeah. And Tim Allen.
And star of Gotti.
And yeah, exactly. All 3 of those things are equally true, but also equally in contention. And look, Wild Hogs, I'm getting off track, but Wild Hogs, boy oh boy, great movie. Fun for the whole family.
What we're saying here is that Tim Allen has shown himself to really kind of throw himself into roles you really wouldn't expect him to do so.
I was really hoping we'd just turn this into a Wild Hogs podcast. I'm not going to lie to you. But have you ever... all right, dead set, have you ever seen Wild Hogs before?
I've never seen Wild Hogs, which means I really can't contribute to this podcast in any meaningful way if you decided to turn
all right,
into a
so
Wild
let's get
Hogs
into the
podcast.
Wild Hogs podcast. 2007 was a great year. What happened in 2007? The start of the Shaggy Dog was a pretty interesting start, and it was as I'm pretty sure we said during the movie, it was pretty kind of disjointed from the rest of it.
It really felt like it was like a parody of the action extraction genre. You know, it starts off low lighting, giving a very sinister look to this bold and mustachioed helicopter pilot who, you know, hands off a manila folder to these two soldiers in the back saying, "This is our target."
Yeah, that's exactly what he sounded like, by the way. That's dead set. That's exactly what he sounded like. I actually had to look up on IMDb later who the pilot was, and it turns out it was my coworker here, James. So I was honestly surprised. I didn't think he'd quite reached that stage in his life where his voice would sound like that. But look, I was clearly wrong. But and moving swiftly on from that,
This helicopter pilot.
Back to you. I mean, back to the helicopter pilot. Sorry.
He hands off the manila folder to these two others, saying that, you know, this is our target.
Yes.
And they go, which one is he? And which person is he? The helicopter pilot says, it's not the person.
Oh.
Then the camera cuts
Yeah.
to the picture attached to the manila folder.
In cinematic fashion as well.
And it's about 5 people surrounding a dog.
Yes.
And this is the Shaggy Dog.
Roll credits. That was the end of the movie.
Yeah, it immediately establishes that Kayang Po is the name of the dog, over 300 years old. Because as they explain a bit later, as soon as they get him back to the lab, a dog ages 7 years for every human year, roughly, is the generally believed thing. So in the Shaggy Dog, the scientists say in Kayang Po, it is reversed.
Oh.
For every 7 years Kayang Po lives, he ages 1 human year. Meaning his lifespan could be 700 years old. And
exactly.
He's middle-aged even. Which, skipping forward a bit, Tim Allen's family keeps Kayang Po at the end. Is a bit morbid when you think about it. He's going to outlive all of them. Except maybe Tim Allen. But we will talk about the consequences of Kayang Po's infectious bite in a bit. Because the opening scene continues, and we get our first real introduction of not only Kayang Po, but of the puppeteer controlling Kayang Po.
Exactly right. Yeah, there were a lot of scenes in the film, obviously, where the dog was present and in full view, in all its glorious realism. So rather than going for either CG or trying to train a dog to, I guess in the first scene, pray, or, you know, obviously go through a classic Tibetan praying ritual, as I'm sure everyone is all too familiar with.
Indeed.
We saw, I believe it was, I think that was probably one of the first times that we saw some person was just controlling a puppet of a dog. And that apparently, look, I want to say that was a theme of the film, but honestly, it just happened.
Puppetry, I think, was an underlying subtext of the film.
Yeah, exactly. Much in the same way that that I guess history kind of controls all of us. There's a man who controls this dog with puppet strings. So
yeah. So
I feel like that's. I mean, at least that's what I got in my first viewing, or my second rather viewing of this film.
Yeah, and I think what Alex is getting at here is that the Shaggy Dog benefits from deeper viewings, despite being an insubstantial nothingness of a film. But yeah, we get introduced to Kayang Po praying. So you're like, oh, this is a monastic dog. This is a dog of God,
feeling like a big god.
Yeah, but so a kid comes in with a ball, waves it at Kayang Po, and Kayang Po gives a look to the Tibetan monk.
The teasing little minx comes in and starts waving the ball around.
Looks at the head monk, and the monk kind of gives a, yeah, okay, you're a dog, go play fetch. Kid throws the ball, tumbles down this entire village.
Yeah,
terrible.
Not just a horrible throw.
Just honestly, if you want to play fetch with a dog, why are you throwing it all the way outside the village?
Yeah.
So he goes outside and immediately gets captured by a CG net.
Yeah, not just a net as well. So for some reason they puppeteered a dog. They couldn't puppeteer a net, or God forbid, use a normal net.
No,
use a real net. They put a CG net over. It shows up for what, 3 frames, 4 frames?
So the frame is the camera on the ground from Kayang Po's perspective, looking up at these 3 soldiers, and they fire a net gun. It's very clearly mid-2000s CG.
Yeah.
It's not a normal net. It's a clearly fake net, and it's baffling.
And then that's when the Shaggy Dog pops up. That's the curtains up on this film. This is where we set our scene.
And you might think this film is kind of an espionage film based on the initial, scene. You'd be wrong.
You would be an absolute fool to think that it was an espionage film.
You would have guessed so wrong.
We would have laughed at you if you were here while we watched that film at the back room and thought to yourself, man, this is going to be a bit of an espionage film.
We would have laughed for maybe 10, 15 minutes at your stupidity,
if not more.
So after the title sequence comes up, then
I fell asleep after that.
Well,
so it's been really nice having a chat to you guys about the Shaggy Dog this season. This is our final episode for the season. I hope you all enjoyed. James over there, shaking his head like a madman, waiting for me to get back on track. And boy, I'm trying my best.
So it is the further, minute by minute, we get away from this film, the less it kind of sticks in your head.
I've already forgotten everything about it.
The idea of this film is much more potent than the film itself. That being said, after the opening credits, I think we're introduced to one of the better scenes of the film, as it contains the 2 best characters, Tim Allen and Baxter. Contains the great line of Baxter saying, "You hate dogs," and Tim Allen says, "I don't hate dogs, I just like dogs. I hate that dog."
Yeah, and that dog was probably also one of the better characters in the film as well, being that he also shared the same arc as Baxter.
And was also one of the few non-CG animals.
Yeah, as it turns out. And so I'm really glad that dog could wear a sort of, Band-Aid on his forehead halfway through the film really, really well.
It was a neck brace.
Yeah, but there was a little bandage on his head as well.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, because he had to mirror his owner. Every dog looks like his owner.
Further and further away I get from this film, the less I remember.
How long has it been? We've only been gone for 20 minutes. Oh no. So yeah, that's how it goes on. So we've got Tim Allen shows up, waving his God-given fist at the dog, just saying, you know what, I hate your dog. I hate everything about this dog.
And this is the establishment of his character.
Yeah.
Tim Allen is a dick at the beginning of the film.
No 2 ways about it.
It really shows an idyllic American home. You see an American flag hanging over, well-kept lawn, Tim Allen in a suit. It's very quickly established that he's assistant DA on the up and up. Going to be the next DA once this DA retires.
Do we ever meet the DA?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
Maybe unless Danny Glover is the DA, which by the way, you may have forgotten. Danny Glover is in this film.
Oh yeah, right.
About as many scenes as Baxter is in.
Yeah, and Baxter's dog.
And he says very, very few lines.
Yeah, he shows up at one point. What is there? He shows up in the court.
He shows up in the court
in an elevator
3 times. The elevator once
at his
house.
Yeah.
So that's 5 times?
Yeah. Good on you, Danny.
It's a strange pick
Yeah.
for a role. So yeah, he's a dick. He ignores his family. You can tell he's kind of wanting to push his kid to football to live out his dreams. And if you've seen any other Disney Channel film, you know that the kid obviously doesn't like football and the dad's pushing him to something he doesn't want to do.
I mean, I just want to clarify, the kid is Spencer Breslin as well. So Spencer Breslin being of what is that? He's Cat in the Hat fame actually. He was the kid in Cat in the Hat, as it turns out, and he was also the kid in he was one of the kids in Zoom, another Tim Allen masterpiece, is for want of a better term. So he shows up. He's definitely he's a great kid, great actor. But he's
that's stretching it a bit.
Yeah, he's
an acceptable kid.
He's an actor. Yeah, I mean, as kids go, he is an
kids
acceptable.
are generally really bad in films, and he is no real exception.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say at his moments, but I feel like the moments that he was good were the ones where he wasn't on screen. That's look, again, personal opinion, but regardless, he kind of he has his own little arc of trying to be a kid, doesn't want to play football, doesn't want to do what his dad wants him to do.
Wants to sing in musicals.
Yeah, exactly. He wants to sing in Greece. He wants to jump in and he wants to sing about cars.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
But the most important thing to take out of this initial scene is not the character introductions, is not the setting introductions, but the establishment of the fact that no one ever finishes their breakfast.
Oh, of course. Honestly, that's... look, okay, I hadn't written that down. I think it was just because I had such a visceral reaction to it that I just saw red. I didn't even...
So the first example we get of this
Yeah.
is Tim Allen has two children.
He does.
Spencer Breslin and the girl,
Yes.
who I cannot remember the name of right now.
We'll find out before the end.
And the girl, she is 18, looks 16, which is, I think Alex said during the filming, is the first time he's seen a teenager in one of these films that looks younger than what she's supposed to be. But she's got a boyfriend called
Trey. He's got a car.
He's got a car. It's an okay car, nothing special.
It's a car.
But she goes to school in his car. And she says, as she's leaving the door, "Hey, I'm going to school, want a ride?" And Spencer says, "A ride in Trey's car? Oh boy, do I!" And gets up, leaves his eggs on the table.
Yeah. It doesn't even so much as walk over to the sink and put them in, doesn't scrape them into any sort of, receptacle for the rubbish. Or for the trash, I guess, as they call it in the United States of A.
And so basically, leaving his dad and mum to clean up after him, when both of them established in the film to have, high power, high stress jobs. Basically, he's a dick.
These kids, look, especially Spencer. Yep, Spencer. He does not care at all about his parents, despite the fact that apparently, he wants to try and win over the affection of his parents, as we see later, but he clearly isn't going about it the right way. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
His arc is baffling to me because as the dog, which Tim Allen becomes, he finds out that Spencer, wants to sing in Greece rather than play football.
Yeah, it's really expensive to go to Greece from the United States as well. Who's gonna speak first?
It's you.
Damn it. Damn it.
But he says, this girl comes up to him and is like, "Oh, why haven't you tried out?" And he goes, "Oh, because my dad wants me to play football." It's established throughout the film that Tim Allen isn't a dick to his kids so much. He's more negligent to his family. You could argue that he's a dick to his daughter because his daughter's protesting something, and he's saying you can't do that. But in a way, I agree with him because he's the one prosecuting the case against the people that she's campaigning for. So it's not as black and white as the movie would lead you to believe if you look just a little deeper.
You always have to read between the lines with a film like, especially one by Tim Allen. I feel like there's always there's a deeper meaning, and then there's a deeper meaning to that meaning as well. And I'm sure, obviously, as we go on this cinematic journey, I'm sure we'll delve into all facets of this as we go along.
So yeah, he goes to court after this initial scene, and
this is his place of work. This is where he's the king. This is Tim Allen at his prime. That's I mean, look, the long and short of it is he's the king, and he's working with what he's got Danny Glover by his side. He's got RDJ off to the side as well. He shows up for the first time. He's wearing like slightly smaller Tony Stark sunglasses. They're still purple tinted.
He looks very young.
Yeah, he does.
Very young.
2-year difference between Iron Man and Shaggy Dog, as we said. He looks about 20 years younger.
He really does. And you know what? It's probably because the Shaggy Dog was such a harrowing experience for him. It really left its mark.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they say. Obviously the camera adds 10 pounds, but the Shaggy Dog actually adds about 30 years.
It's a tragedy.
Yeah, honestly. And Danny Glover just turned to dust at the end of that film. I think. Look,
considering it's part of the MCU with the introduction of Robert Downey Jr., the snap would have happened.
Exactly.
So Danny Glover would be Ash.
Yeah, I can imagine Danny Glover would have just said, "I'm getting too old for this," but as he tries to finish his sentence, just disappears. It's dusted. Yeah. So he shows up in the court. He's ready to go. He's raring. He's prosecuting, I believe, the main person who his daughter's actually trying to help out, trying to save.
The idea is he set a fire That's what he's accused of.
Yeah. Setting a fire.
This animal rights activist is accused of setting a fire in this laboratory.
Mm.
An act of terrorism, basically.
Yeah. A fire that, admittedly, I don't think we ever see.
We see a picture of.
Oh, okay.
A single picture in the courtroom. But other than that, no.
Yeah. And we can see as well, Tim Allen is pretty damn good at his job as well. He's got this case pretty much under wraps. And I feel like a lot of the people in the public as well were pretty against this guy too. So I think it was almost an open and shut case.
Yeah. There's a lot of, kids, eco-warriors that, were siding with this guy. But it's hard to sway public opinion when it was clear this guy apparently set the fire.
Mm.
Which we find out later he didn't.
Oh, so oh, wait, no, you just said we didn't. Okay. Yeah, yes.
But that courtroom scene is really only important as it's so far to set up Tim Allen as the high-powered assistant DA and his assistant lady, who there's one baffling exchange.
There's a really, really weird relationship between those two.
I don't understand. It's like she seems to want to do everything for him, but that relationship is kind of it's more.
It's never called upon.
It's more than a friendship, more than a relationship, like boss employee, but less than a friendship.
Yeah, it's
and
a
it
strange
never feels
one.
like he's abusing that. It just feels like she's going above and beyond. And there's this one baffling scene later where she says something. I can't remember what exactly. And Tim Allen just cocks his head and looks at her and goes, "Have you been drinking?"
Just straight up.
Just straight up. Like
in both of their places of work. This is it just
highly
pops up.
unprofessional.
Yeah.
And then it's just swept over.
Yeah.
She doesn't even reply to it.
I honestly don't even think Tim Allen knew what he was saying there. He probably just tried to improv something, saw that it went horribly wrong. Neither actor knew what to say, and they're just like, quick, next scene, just cut it.
There's
Tim Allen, also the producer in the background, is just like slicing his hand across his neck, just like, stop.
He's got a mirror set up like in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
He's talking to himself. Yeah, he's got the Green Goblin Tim Allen. Oh no, that's the Santa Claus Tim Allen and him Tim Allen, or the Shaggy Dog Tim Allen, to basically try and contest the good and the bad.
Well, in the same vein of this kind of drinking joke, there's a couple strange adult jokes in this film.
Yeah, there were a couple of weird ones.
There's one where,
I believe there was one when they were in the pound, weren't they?
Yeah, there's one in the pound.
Yeah.
This is after Tim Allen is turned into the dog.
Yes. Oh, spoilers! He turns into a dog.
Yeah.
I think we've well established this.
I'll quickly go over him turning into a dog.
Yeah.
Basically, Kyung Po escapes.
Yes.
In an incredible scene.
Yeah.
Where he's acting all meek and innocent, and it's like, oh,
he's a cute little dog.
Yeah, they're like, oh, he's a cute little dog, and then this won't hurt a bit, and they take out some of his blood. They turn around, and then they turn back, and Kyung Po has the syringe full of his blood in his mouth and pointing it at them.
That's horrifying.
It's genuinely terrifying, and it's also the first time we see that Kyung Po has capability for much higher thought than we originally thought.
Yeah, that's honestly that's very threatening. Not just to kind of see a dog being able to sort of outsmart humans. Probably such a, I guess, visceral way as well. You get to see this dog picks up a syringe filled with blood, and he's threatening these
ready
two.
for violence.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And he is later clearly shown to be a violent creature.
Yeah.
When
definitely.
He escapes the lab, goes home with Tim Allen's daughter, and Tim Allen tries to get him removed, and he bites Tim Allen.
Yeah. And here our story begins.
In an incredible CG scene where he bites Tim Allen, and it goes into Tim Allen's bloodstream.
A place everyone wants to go. That's a point for another day. But I'll talk about that later.
You see all this CG hemoglobin, and the virus or whatever of Kyung Po are these small furry blobs with arms
dog-like
and legs
qualities,
and tails, but they're not dogs.
Yeah,
and they kind of swarm through the bloodstream and grab the hemoglobin and tear it apart.
It just eviscerated within mere milliseconds.
And it turns into more of these furry creatures.
Yeah.
And that goes through his bloodstream. So that's where he's at.
So essentially, his genetic makeup, everything that Tim Allen holds dear within his own body, is completely taken from him, and he's just been replaced by a dog.
I think we've established that this film could be taken in a very different direction with him as Patient Zero.
Oh,
the
definitely.
entire world could be turned into dogmen.
And because this, and as we'll see later in the film, this is not the last you've seen of the Kayangpo virus.
And it's not
later.
exclusive to Kayangpo either.
No, it's not.
It can be transferred by any carrier.
Yeah.
And as we find out later in the film, there are a multitude of carriers.
It really can be it can be taken in a very, very different direction. And I really hope that when the inevitable reboot happens, that they take a few pointers rather than from the old Shaggy Dog movies. I really hope that they take a couple of pointers from 28 Days Later.
28 Dogs Later, yeah.
That's a perfect title for it, actually. I like that. We'll use that. We're going to make the film, is what we're trying to say.
Tim Allen, I know you're a producer on this.
Yeah, I know you're listening.
To be a producer on 28 Dogs Later.
Yeah.
Hit us up.
You're welcome. We're already there. We're outside. We're filming. Please just let us in so we can press play. So, with that in mind, Tim Allen, he's been bitten. He's got the love bug, but instead of love, it's dog. It's dog. He's got the dog bug. And pretty quickly we see how quickly does it take for him to transform? Not too quick. He doesn't do it straight away.
He gets bitten at night.
He does.
And
so he's like a were dog.
And then he's working at the computer and kind of feels a bit funny. And then his wife comes in and says, you're not doing enough. And he goes, well, I'm sorry for missing my son's parent-teacher, but how about I cook dinner tomorrow night and then for our anniversary, we'll go to
Ooh La La.
I think it was Grace's. The seat by the window, he says. Spoilers, when we see the seat, it's not by the window.
I honestly didn't even realize that. That's very, very true, though. The seat is... I don't even want to say it's not next to the window.
It's in the middle of the restaurant.
It's nowhere near the window. It is nowhere near the window.
Whether that is intentional to show Tim Allen's lack of preparation, or it just is unintentional to show Tim Allen's lack of preparation as a producer, remains to be seen.
It all points to the same answer, though.
So he's kissing his wife, and then begins to scratch like a dog at his head with his hand.
The great Kristen Stewart, Kirsten
Dunst,
Christopher Robin
Bell.
Yes, sorry, of course. Someone.
I can't.
I wish we could finish this. I wish we could finish this list off, but I honestly don't remember what her name was.
No, neither do I.
Kristen Davis. Okay, thank goodness we're back. Kristen Davis. Some of the most emotive eyebrows I've ever seen.
That don't match the face.
That don't match the face.
She's saying one thing and her eyebrows are telling another story.
Yeah.
You know, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has a very emotive face.
He does. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson does indeed have an incredibly emotive face.
But the eyebrows match the face.
They do. And they complement and accentuate the face as well.
Here they don't. Here, Kristen does not have a matching eyebrows face ratio.
It's a mess.
So he goes to bed and we realize she's turning even into more of a dog when she wakes up. And she looks around like something's wrong. And the camera slowly pans to the end of the bed. There he is. Tim Allen lying across the bed like a dog would.
And, well, look, honestly, I think that's probably just how Tim Allen woke up that day. I think he thought to himself, he's like, man, I'm just going to go to bed on set. And he woke up. And that's probably just how he sleeps normally. And then people are like, oh, whoa, he looks kind of like a dog there. We might just start filming. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. That's probably how he sleeps.
Yeah, I'd say so too. And we see more of how he sleeps in later scenes when he wakes up from being Kayangpo.
Consistently naked as well. By far the best part of the film. By far.
So he wakes up, he's a dog. Well, he's not a dog yet, but he's acting like a dog. And then...
he's feeling like a big dog right now.
Yeah, so there's another kitchen scene for breakfast. And
breakfast occurs a lot in this family, and I really respect that.
You could say breakfast occurs a lot, but it really doesn't. Maybe a quarter
it's never
of a
quite
breakfast
finished.
So, he pours himself some cornflakes. Actually, I think they're Kellogg's, which is very obvious product placement for the film. Like, the Kellogg's box is front and center.
Angled towards the camera.
Yeah. And it pours it, and pours some milk, pours some coffee, begins to lick the coffee, like, la, la, la.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's
exactly
like,
what he
whoa.
does.
And his son's like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah. Whoa, Tim Allen. And he's like, hey, calm down, Spencer Breslin. How was school?
And turns out he's failing maths.
Yeah.
And we find out later this is part of a plot to drop out of football because basically Spencer lacks a spine to talk to his father.
Yeah, exactly. And look, Spencer, if you're hearing this, we forgive you. We forgive you.
We've all lacked a spine at some point.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, admittedly, it was probably when we were in the womb and the bones hadn't grown yet. But I mean, everyone's been there. We've all been there. So come back to us, Spencer. I hope you're well. I haven't seen you for a while.
I'm indifferent.
Yeah. That's how most parentships go. One wants you back and one's like, eh. So, anywho,
I wouldn't even really care for joint custody if I'm being honest.
So, with all this in mind, we've witnessed that Spencer has seen his dad licking from a cornflakes bowl, licking from his coffee, also trying to take in some fatherly advice, but kind of gets sidetracked by the fact that there is a man in front of him licking all of the food up of their plates. It really is kind of quite. I would be terrified.
He voraciously digs into his bowl of cornflakes.
Yeah, dare I say ferociously as well. That was. I mean, all of these words are incredibly impressive and large, but they all point towards the fact that there's some. We got to talk about Tim. There's something wrong with our boy.
We need to talk about Timothy.
We do. Timothy, he's gone a little bit whack. So something ain't quite right, and no one can really quite put their finger on it. And just as we think we're going to put the finger on it, he picks up his bowl, which isn't even finished again.
No, he's not finished. He took 3 licks of his coffee and half his bowl.
Yep.
Dumps it.
Gone.
Off.
In the bin. It's ridiculous. Again, we've got a couple of themes going through this film. Admittedly, wild hogs, apparently one of them. We just got to keep that going. And the second one is just unfinished business. It's ridiculous. And look, obviously from my decades as being a film scholar, you've got such a simple task as breakfast, and they can't even finish that. And I think that really, it drills home a certain point. It drills home a certain something, which you can't really quite put your finger on until you've watched the film a couple of times.
It really shows that the family lacks follow through.
Yeah.
So the film really, I'd say, picks up from here when he becomes a dog.
Yeah. I mean, the momentum really starts carrying, honestly. You've got, you start off a pretty slow, pretty happy, pretty normal suburban life. Then all of a sudden, gets bitten by a dog, starts turning into a dog. And boy, oh boy, the film goes in a freaking overdrive after that. You have a whole bunch of hijinks. Tim Allen is like, at one point, his tongue like triples in size. That's kind of whack. But he also, obviously...
in court. The next scene is in court.
Yeah.
And he acts like a complete buffoon.
He does. He makes a right fool of himself.
Picks up documents in his mouth. Carries them around.
For the first time in a while, Robert Downey Jr. isn't the weirdest looking character in the scene. Yeah, and I feel like that's the only time where it happens. I think he kind of... He manages to take that crown back a little bit later.
So he becomes a dog.
He does.
Makes a fool of himself. Gets ejected from the court. Gets ejected from the courtroom. They demand a recess, and then he just leaves.
He does.
He's not feeling well.
He books it, and I'm sure. Look, I am no legal scholar, but when you see someone just leave a court, I don't know. I feel like that doesn't really sit well, obviously for his job, but also I don't know if.
No, it definitely doesn't sit well for his job because it's made clear by Danny Glover later that he is no longer in the running for DA.
Yeah, no, sir. DA, more like Dunzo, eh? So Tim Allen just kind of runs off, and what does he do? How does he first turn into a dog? There, I've all but forgotten.
How does he turn into a dog the first time?
Oh God, we just saw this movie. Well, look, long and the short of it is,
he turns it. I know he turns into a dog.
It's in the pound. It's in the pound.
He goes to the pound.
There it is.
And he's overwhelmed by the dogs.
He is, yeah. He has a break.
Because he's wondering why he is acting so strange. So he went to the pound to test if they had rabies, which, if he's already acting strange, is too late.
Yeah. Oh, he's done for.
But luckily it's not rabies.
It's something even worse.
It's the dog zombie virus.
Exactly. It's the beginning of the end for the entirety of humanity.
So he turns into a dog after being overwhelmed by dog barks. And eventually realizes it when he sees himself in, I believe, is product placement. Because I think it's like a Panasonic TV.
42-inch, no less.
Yeah, he goes 42-inch, which is a strange detail that makes no sense.
Especially in this day and age, 42-inch for a TV isn't anything particularly crazy.
It's 2006.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone was smaller back then.
Yeah. Sure, I sure as hell was. I'm sure anyone else listening at home will tell themselves, 42 inches, TV? Ha, I laugh in that. What? So, with that all in mind, he walks past the cameras, which were all attached somehow to the TV.
Sees he's a dog.
Yeah.
Is in disbelief.
Mm.
Runs headfirst into the glass.
He does.
To wake up from a dream. We all laugh because it is a hilarious moment.
Bit of slapstick there.
Bit of slapstick comedy. Doesn't wake up. Goes home. First attempt to try and show his kids that he's dead. Makes some Scrabble.
It's look, honestly, Scrabble is the only truth in this film. It's the great arbiter, honestly. And he tries it. And he decides...
they clean it up.
Yeah.
Like, clearly, they don't
Stupid
understand.
dog.
They don't see this dog rearranging words.
Which I think... Look, honestly, the children are probably stupider than most animals at this point in the film. They're like, oh, silly dog, he's just rearranging letters to form I am dad.
Yeah, it literally says I am duh.
Yeah.
And what do they think this... I am duh black-eyed peas?
They were probably scared that it was going to write out I am Dafoe, because they had just seen the first 3 films of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy, and they thought, man, Willem Dafoe is a real scary kid.
I really hope he has an infected dad, but something much worse has.
Oh no.
So he kind of bonds with his family here. In a way
accidentally.
He never has.
As a dog. I think that's probably the main way that he's never bonded with his family.
Goes to the dog park with his son. This girl rides up and like it's kind of established she's his friend and basically chastises him, offering no support for his difficult predicament. And then says the most baffling thing in the film, which is just because you're the best doesn't mean you'll get the part. Which, yeah, you will. The
opposite is actually true.
That's kind of how it works.
Yeah, he will get the part because he is the best. But I mean, oh well. It's a weird backhanded compliment. Not really too sure what the relationship there is. She shows up once more later, again on her bike. Shows up. She's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be rude again. Anyway, see ya." And then she just rides back the way she came. So I don't know if she has a real direction, like an actual compass style direction. I don't even know where I don't think she knows where she's going, is what I'm trying to get at.
She dresses like a 17-year-old, but she's maybe 12.
Yeah, if that. And she just shows up on a bike. How we going? I'm going to be angry at you. Anyway, see ya. I don't know where I am anymore. See, that's probably why she never gets the parts, because she doesn't actually know how to get to the school theater.
She's constantly trapped in a never-ending loop of riding the bike.
Her cardinal directions have just been completely out of whack. She's just been driving around that circle.
It's representative of Spencer's story. Spencer broke away from the eternal loop of not being able to tell his father, and as such would not end up like this girl.
Yeah, and this girl she just couldn't get away. There's always a foil. There's always a yang to the yin. So that's a bit of a tragic arc too as well. But look, there was a lot of other things that happened in there. I think
basically his interactions with his family are all in 2 parts. His son has 2 parts. His daughter has 2 parts. The first part of his son is with him in the dog park, learning this. And the second part is him seeing him at his football game, and getting absolutely crushed.
Yeah, quite physically as well. He gets flattened.
It's also kind of another demonstration of the kid's stupidity, I'd say. Because if he's been doing football for this long, he should at least know the basic rules. And yet he has no idea where he's supposed to be, what he's supposed to be doing. He stands there as he lets 2 guys trample him. Like his fight or flight reflexes have just shut down.
He doesn't have them.
No, clearly not. He'd be dead in the dogpocalypse.
Oh, I mean, and we all know that's coming.
Yeah. His daughter's story can similarly be divided into 2. So the first time he and his daughter hang out is he finds out that his daughter is going out with, I think, a girl called Janie to get a tattoo.
Exactly.
Because she's in 11th grade. She says, I know she found a place where they don't ask for ID. And I'm going to get basically a tramp stamp of the animal rights logo. Luckily, her dad saves her from a lifetime of regret.
By probably mortifying her friend
by
Janie.
terrifying this friend Janie, by charging at her as like this rabid dog, barking at the windows, things like that. Second time, her boyfriend kind of calms her down, shows her a pamphlet about what to do, and she's like, this is going to be more effective than a tattoo. And that's where Tim Allen really understands his daughter's passion. It's not just a stupid teenage thing. She really genuinely believes in this stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's good that his dad actually, or it's good that her dad finally learns that. I'm pretty sure it was actually her who made the pamphlet as well.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong in saying that, but I do remember Tim Allen's like,
that didn't seem clear to me.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that he did say, hey, that seems pretty cool, but I don't know if he was talking about the pamphlet or about the stuff that was on there.
I feel
it could have been either. I'm not too sure.
This really kind of hammers home for me the fact that
nothing's really finished in this family, honestly.
Nothing's finished, and I feel like Tim Allen, it's merely the demands of his job that keep him being a bad father. Everyone kind of like roasts him for not coming home for dinner and things like that. But he's the assistant district attorney. He's got a pretty high stress job.
He's got a pretty heavy plate right now.
Yeah, he's a bit negligent, but everyone kind of treats him as this incredibly bad guy, and it's implied that this has been going on for a while. When it's like the kids don't seem to make an effort to portray their point of view to the dad at all. You actually consistently through the film, you see the dad try and connect with his kids in human form at the beginning, and they kind of shut him down and shut him off, as kids are wont to do.
That's just that's a classic teenager mechanic. And I guess after, especially if it's been happening for a while, they might just be like, you know what, I don't even like you, Dad. I'm too cool for school. I'm too cool for Tim Allen. But I don't know.
No one's too cool for Tim Allen.
That's very
except
true.
for Evolution.
It's that's I would have said the exact same thing.
Which I would have thought Tim Allen would be in full support against when he was part of a documentary about a man turning into a dog.
It's all of it is 100% real. I don't know if we clarified that from the start. Don't quite recall, but just to clear things up now, it's all true.
It's all true.
Yeah. So all right, good. Now that we got that underway.
So yeah, the middle of the film's basically a whole bunch of filler about Tim Allen learning about his family, things we already knew that he didn't know. It kind of meanders a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of nothing, and there's not much of a lot.
Yeah, he stands his wife up on the anniversary, which is not true because he goes there. He's just in dog form. He can't do anything about it, and he's outside of the restaurant with flowers. Now she thinks that Tim Allen sent the dog with flowers, which portrays to me how stupid she is as well. Because, okay, one, the other night he told her he turned into dog. Two, he hates dogs. Why would he ever train a dog to do that?
Yeah. Also, three, how would you train a dog to do that? I honestly think it would be easier to turn into a dog and show up to a restaurant with a bunch of flowers
than to
train a dog to go and into a restaurant with a bunch of flowers.
Yeah, and he goes, oh, I can't even go in there because I'm a dog. But we don't see him try.
Yeah.
If we'd seen him try to get in, that would have been a bit more believable. But he kind of stands outside in the rain, because it starts raining, of course.
Yeah. I mean, it's nighttime. It has to rain, obviously. And yeah, he doesn't give it a try. That's a bit of a tell, don't show moment, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a bit sad in more ways than one. As, basically she's like, I don't know if we're going to get through this on the phone to him.
Yeah, that was quite a dark basically, phone conversation.
Yeah, she's like, basically the subtext is she's going to divorce him.
Yeah. Because
he's really not, performing his husbandly duties.
Yeah. Classic Tim Allen movie. Haha, wow, wacky. Ain't that something?
So yeah, basically, he realizes that in court they've been doing genetic experiments. And that's how he became a dog. So he needs to get back in there to rescue Kayang Po to find out what's going on.
And expose RDJ.
Yeah. So he goes to the facility criminally unguarded for a company creating something that could make you immortal.
Yeah, something that
you can
seems
get
to be,
in through just a loose vent.
Yeah, exactly how he gets in. It's just a vent off to the side, and he just walks through, or at least he tries to go through. In human form, can't do that. So he obviously, what's the next best thing than going through in human form? He enlists the help of a homeless man wearing a tinfoil hat, as one does.
Comically homeless.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's got his trolley is filled to the brim with trash.
Yeah, and he goes, and Tim Allen walks up to him and goes, "Hey, I need you to throw this stick." He goes, "Why am I going to throw this stick?" He goes, "I'll give you $5." And he goes, "Do I look like I need $5?" And then there's this comical moment where they look at each other and you're supposed to laugh because he's homeless and needs money.
Yeah, homeless people.
But it's sad.
Yeah, it's actually quite tragic.
He looks really destitute.
And I think there's slightly too long a pause there. Slightly too long for me to just be like, haha, he's homeless. Yeah, that's horrible.
So he throws the stick. Tim Allen grabs the stick in his mouth on all fours, comes back, no bueno, no dice, not a dog. He says, throw it again. So he does it.
And he's kind of panting as well because he's obviously just been running.
You can hear the heartbeat sound effect that they play.
Oddly, look, okay, first time I saw that after a little while, kind of sexual. Not gonna sugarcoat it. I got a little bit worried there. He comes back, he's like, he came back, and I'm pretty sure he says, "I'm so close." I'm pretty sure he says
aggressively sexual.
I'm right. Now that we've broken that barrier, it's there's definitely a level of that in this scene. And I never thought that the best on-screen chemistry... I thought it was going to be between, Tim Allen and his wife. I was horribly wrong. Tim Allen and that homeless man. There was a beautiful
There was something there. It was a spark, only for a moment.
Yeah.
But
that's all you need.
It was really like a 10-second lost in translation.
Yeah, exactly. Bill Murray, Scarlett Johansson, who? So we saw all of that.
He throws the stick.
He does.
Tim Allen chases it. And right before this man's eyes, turns into a dog.
He does.
Scarring this man for life.
We never get to see it, but I honestly, it's kind of like a bit sort of Bird Box. We never get to see the true villain of the film. But the people who do, they are driven, at least in Bird Box, are driven to suicide. Or in Tim Allen's The Shaggy Dog's case, probably that man was also driven to suicide.
Yeah, I would agree. He's gone after the film.
Yeah. And there's a reason for it. He's gone.
So he sneaks in, finds out that RDJ has been doing all these bad things, and goes home. And goes home. Finds it out. Goes home.
He's
to tell people.
Yeah. He goes
to Danny Glover's house and is like, "I need a warrant to search the premises," and they won't give it to him because they tell him he's off the case. Because
Danny Glover's a smart guy. He's just like, you're insane.
You're acting like a madman.
Yeah.
You're having a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
But so he goes home, and then RDJ basically puts his partner in an induced coma because his partner apparently takes all the credit. And basically the two helpers we've seen through the entire film, because this facility that is discovering the secret to immortality has 2 scientists in the entire building.
Yeah. It's obviously well established by this stage.
Yeah.
10 years of work, if not longer. They've got, 4 people on staff? Oh, no, there's a 5th guy who was asleep at the cameras.
That's true. A 5th guy that was asleep at the cameras in the middle of the day.
Yeah, in the middle of the day. That man is either an insomniac or he's just horrible at his job.
And he's not a 5th member of that company for long after they find that out.
Definitely not.
So, these 2 scientists, we haven't mentioned before, but they are caricatures. One is a bumbling buffoon, and the other one is just a raging bitch.
Yeah, that's a beautiful caricature of a classic scientist.
Yeah,
just a raging bitch.
And they say to Robert Downey Jr. once he puts this guy in an induced coma, which, by the way, this drug will last for months in this man's system.
He says it will be months before he can speak again. So he's still conscious. He's still there, but he won't be able to speak for months.
Yeah, which apparently will be diagnosed as dementia. Okay. Apparently dementia completely locks them down until he starts speaking in a couple months. But he says he'll have control by then.
Sure.
But they're like, "Oh, we never signed up for this." And Robert Downey says, "But of course you'll get some of his share." And they go, "Okay."
Money is the great swayer of this
They
film.
are immoral caricatures. So they find out that he snuck in and knows their secret. So they go capture him.
At his house as well.
At his house.
And Baxter, you know what? You know where he was? He was just across the road, and he couldn't do anything about it.
Because earlier in the film, Tim Allen was chasing a cat and ran in front of Baxter's car. Baxter slams on the brakes. Truck rear ends Baxter's car, shattering it.
Baxter could have died, and his dog was in there as well.
Baxter very nearly died.
Yeah. We could have witnessed an on-screen death.
That scene we just talked about with Baxter getting damaged also preceded another thing we touched on earlier but didn't finish, which was the strangest out-of-left-field adult joke in the film.
Yeah.
Which was, Tim Allen was in the pound, and they come and rescue him, thinking he's Kyang Po, or Shaggy, as they call him. And you hear the thoughts of Tim Allen.
That's how they communicate as a dog as well. It's just his voiceover as a thought bubble.
And he says, "Oh, thank God, that Mastiff just sold me for 3 doggy biscuits." And it takes a moment, and you realize it's like, that's a prison bitch joke.
We looked at each other, and we thought, wait, hang on. And by that stage, the scene had ended. There's a new scene.
Swiftly on to the next one.
Yeah.
They don't dwell on it. He says it with such cheeriness in his voice, but it's like, oh my God,
what was happening to you in the pound?
Like that's horrific.
How long had he been there for?
That's like, yeah, for so quickly that he's already been sold for 3 doggy biscuits.
I've always wondered about the financial situations of all the dogs in the pound. Obviously, they show up. Obviously, none of them have wallets. Okay, as far as I understand. But
I'm sure they don't get visitors or anything. How are they meant to smuggle in contraband like doggy biscuits?
Like, well, that's true. I don't know. Look, dogs have their ways. That's
clearly, as we see in this film.
Yeah, they do, and they've got their ways to get in not 1 but 3 doggy biscuits. So that Mastiff is clearly has a bit of a power hungry crisis right now, especially considering his dog his thing who he just sold for 3 doggy biscuits is now just left.
Oh, he's out of pocket.
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah.
Like what can you do about that? Like that's pure bad luck right there.
Yeah,
that Mastiff will never see the light of day again. Is all we'll say. Poor kid.
It's violent. In the pound.
It's a dog eat dog.
They don't call it the pound for nothing. So after all this happens, they go to Tim Allen's house, to capture him, to study him, because they discover that he can turn into a dog. And in one of the strangest CG choices, he comes out of the house
as a dog,
jumps, over the steps, and and gets hit by a cattle prod. Hair goes everywhere. You know, you see the shockwave coming out.
Slow
motion, and it's maybe like an 80-degree...
Like Matrix turn almost.
Matrix turn, but it's nowhere near 180-degree, 360-degree. It's just a small little pie slice of camera movement.
That probably was honestly about 1/10, if not more, of the budget. Like, objectively speaking. I wanted to try and exaggerate and be like, oh, that was like 99% of the budget. Honestly, it was probably about 10% of the budget. That individual 5-second scene.
It looked decent.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it was 10% of the budget.
It looked thoroughly decent.
Yeah,
it looked passable for a mid-2000s Disney Channel movie.
It looked kind of cool, but it had no reason to be there.
No, it had no reason to be there. So he gets captured, thrown in the trunk,
yeah,
carted off to
just
the
in a normal car as well. They're just like, get in.
And the kids are chasing him out of the house. This is just after they've discovered he's dead, because he's finally been able to spell out with Scrabble, I am dead. And they're very believing immediately.
Yeah, without the kids messing it all up again.
Yeah.
Stupid kids.
So he runs out of the house because he smells the other dog peeing on his yard, gets zapped. And the kids, I don't know, maybe their feet are made of lead, because it takes them a solid minute to get out of the house.
Maybe they also go in slow motion when he goes in slow motion too, and they get stuck for a little bit longer.
That's true.
Yeah, it could have been anything.
Or maybe they were packing up Scrabble.
That's true. They're like, well, hang on, we can't leave this here. I mean, Dad's gonna be back any time.
Despite the fact,
they've just figured out that they've just found their dad.
So Tim Allen goes to, gets taken to the facility, while the girl calls Trey,
who's got a car.
A very cool car, according to Spencer,
and no one else.
So he arrives, and Robert Downey Jr. is there, being all moderately villainous, kind of looking very high strung, like he doesn't want to be there in real life.
And he probably didn't, to be honest.
And Tim Allen bites him on the hand. And he goes, you mongrel or something. And then buggers off.
Yep.
To court, because he's got a court date.
Yeah. But the effects are pretty immediate for him. So because, and we said this earlier, obviously patient zero, we've had the Shaggy Dog biting Tim Allen, becomes a dog, right? We get Tim Allen biting Robert Downey Jr. Then immediately he already starts scratching behind his ears, and I'm like, oh no, hang on, this is it. This is the epidemic. This is where it all goes downhill. Because now we've got not one, not two, but now we've got 3 carriers of this horrific disease.
We've more because the whole lab is filled with Cayenne Po animal hybrids.
That's true.
This frog dog.
Yeah.
This snake dog. These mice dog. These
rabbit dogs.
Chimpanzee dog. This capuchin monkey dog. These, and as you said, the rabbit dogs. And all of them have Cayenne Po's genetic makeup, which has been established it works.
Yes.
They live for a long time. It reverts cell degeneration. 1 year human time, like 7 years human time, is 1 year body age.
It's like the super soldier serum. Sort of. Not quite.
Not quite as potent. No, the super soldier serum isn't quite as potent. Sorry.
Yeah, this one's even stronger.
The super soldier serum isn't as potent. It's even stronger.
Yeah, the Cayenne Po, all of a sudden, it's going to be infinitely stronger. See, if Captain America got injected with this, he would become the best goddamn superhero ever.
Because not only would he live forever, but when he was fighting Thanos, could have bitten Thanos, and Thanos would have been a dog.
Yep.
Then Giant Man.
Yeah.
Squished.
Would you step on this dog to save the universe? The answer is yes.
Answer is yes.
Every time.
Thanos dog.
So now that they're all done, we can finally get to the culmination of this whole film. I believe. Is this the end?
Whoa. You almost forgot about the important part where he needs to turn back into a human to open the cage.
He does.
So Cayenne Po teaches them to find inner peace.
Because it's really important.
All the animals do the, kind of praying symbol.
Hands together. That's the prayer hands emoji for all of you youngsters out there.
As Tim Allen reverts to normal form, bands the animals together to save each other.
Yeah.
And they all escape, and then they come back and save him when he's caught. And it's a very kind of bog standard kind of, oh look, the hero, the people he hated are now the things he saved kind of thing. All of them carriers of this disease, by the way.
Yeah. And they all conveniently get into one car, so we can count out about 95% of the carriers in a single vehicle.
Yeah. So they escape after the girl, Spencer, and Trey.
In his really cool car.
According to Spencer.
And no one else.
Steal Shaggy.
Yes.
Because they think it's Dad. And the dog keeps barking, and they're like, oh, Daddy, it's okay, we're going to show Mummy. And they're fucking idiots.
Stupid kids.
Really can't tell the difference.
Even Trey knew, I reckon.
Trey, you could see it on the actor's face. Who are these idiots? Who are these complete buffoons?
I don't think he realized he was on camera. I just as a side note, I don't think he realized he was on camera.
Yeah.
He was kind of just looking around. He wasn't looking at the road.
My girlfriend is having a nervous breakdown. So, that happens.
They show up at Mum's work and they're like, look at this, it's our dad.
Which, I want to, as a side note, they open up the computer in Mum's cubicle, and it's an empty Word document, apart from one title, which says, Osborne. Make of that what you will, Green Goblin aficionados.
All we'll say is this ain't the last you've heard of Norman.
All I've got to say is, I'm gonna get you, Spider-Man.
Yeah. The other thing that I really wanted to say was
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
And then the dog clearly isn't Dad. He can't type because he's a dog. And then Tim Allen rings in the car, and this is the first shot you get at the car, filled with the snake, the mice, all sorts of creatures.
The disease.
The plague.
Yeah, this is literally a vehicle carrying it to downtown as well, I might add. It's LA, right?
It's unspecified.
Okay, it's a city.
So
it's half a mile out.
Yeah, and there's a lot of goofy physical comedy with the animals. They're jumping around, flying around, doing all the things the animal does. The chimpanzee has sunglasses on upside down.
Yeah,
and
classic.
He's talking to his wife like, meet me at the courthouse at 8, with all this stuff. And the animals acting out, and he's like, stop that, and the wife's like, what's going on? This is the part where her acting is really bad.
This is where her eyebrows really start to go out of control.
Yeah, her eyebrows go really out of control, and she's like, you better explain things, and she sounds like she's really phoning it in. Really phoning it in. So he gets stuck in a traffic jam.
Yeah.
Half a mile away from the city centre, as conveniently displayed by a sign that says half a mile to city centre.
Yeah. As I'm sure every good city would have.
And then gets out of the car and says, don't do anything to it. To the animals.
Yeah. Who I'm sure all understand him perfectly well.
And then runs, full pelt, turns into a dog, jumps over a bypass, luckily onto a bus that says courthouse. Runs to the courthouse.
This is the perfect case of show, don't tell. We're not being told that it's the courthouse, but we're being shown on the bus front that it's the courthouse. That's where they're going.
And he arrives at the courthouse, arrives with his wife. She has a hard time believing it, but puts all the pieces together. He barks, I love you. They hug, they kiss, and as they slowly pan, and Tim Allen is naked on the courthouse steps.
In front of so just to reiterate what James has just said here, there is a courthouse. It's a place where legal proceedings occur daily, if not hourly. This is a place where the law is upheld. And one of the laws in most countries, I'm not sure if all countries, but most countries, involves public nudity. Okay? Just bear with me. Public nudity is a crime. Being the assistant DA at this point as well, I'm sure he would definitely have lost his job for that. Despite the fact that he was, regardless of how close he was to the promotion, doesn't matter. He would have absolutely lost his job. You
strut around naked anywhere, you lose that promotion. Trust me.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, this is exactly how we both ended up here.
You know, the law's the law, and now that we know, we can judge Tim Allen for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the most obscene thing in that scene is his son, after seeing his mum and dad make out, which no 12-year-old wants to see, and his dad naked, balls hanging out.
No one wants to see.
Tim Allen, of all people. He goes, that's so cool. No, Spencer, it isn't.
The shark has been jumped right there. That's exactly when I was like, you know what? Disbelief is just through the roof right now. I honestly could not support Spencer any further than I already hadn't up until this point in the movie.
Spencer is really our main antagonist. He does everything wrong, and yet we're still supposed to root for him anyway. It feels like a very unfocused film. Robert Downey Jr., yes, he committed animal crimes. And if that's all he had done, I would have given him a pass because he discovered immortality.
Yeah.
Which is
I think that's
incredible.
Definitely. There's risk in science.
He's not Josef Mengele. He's not researching. He's not stitching people together. He experimented on mice, frogs, snakes. There were no cats. There were no higher form creatures he was doing it on.
No dolphins.
Which Dog Dolphin should have been an addition.
Should have been a thing. Maybe in the second film.
And I think Disney realized this when they made him induce his partner into a long-form coma where he is awake and conscious and it's a living, breathing nightmare.
There's nothing particularly satisfying about that scene. Actually, speaking of as well, did that guy, what happened to that guy? Is he still...
it's never cleared up.
He's still...
So, yeah, here we move swiftly to the end of the film. Tim Allen, gets reaccepted by Danny Glover for no reason. Then proceeds to show that Robert Downey Jr. is part dog.
Yes. After he bit him.
In the courtroom. He throws a baton after being let out, and Robert Downey Jr. chases it and picks it up in his mouth.
Yeah.
And here's my question. So, they accused him of doing experiments on dogs.
Yep.
Okay, he's acted like a dog. Robert Downey Jr.'s acted like a dog.
Yep.
This isn't proof of anything.
No, I don't believe so either.
But everyone seems to act like he's arrested.
It's just incriminating evidence that he picked up a baton.
Yeah, he chased after a baton and had a tail. He could have just brought his fursuit to work.
Yeah, maybe he accidentally popped out of the back of his pants. It happens to the best of us.
Everyone seems to, cheer, clap, think that this guy has been incriminated against. And we're just sitting here like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
But
also,
nothing happened.
And also, at what point did the crowd switch on Robert Downey Jr.? He was pretty well respected. He was pretty well supported. And then all of a sudden, he grows a tail.
They kind
Bingo,
of
bango,
they
bongo.
all laugh at him.
Yeah.
Not that like he's clearly like this man is in distress, and they're laughing like a gaggle of school children.
Mm.
And I think this is a good time to bring up Robert Downey Jr.'s faces,
Yeah.
which is both the highlight and the lowlight of the film.
Yeah. Exactly.
He delivers every line very strangely.
Mm.
Like every line is from a different film.
Yeah. Every line is kind of from like a different point in Robert Downey Jr.'s life.
Yeah, so like his cadence will jump, and his facial expressions, even when he's not turning into a dog, are basically spasms of muscle.
Like erratic, to say the
Yeah.
absolute least.
It's bizarre, and it looks like he's putting effort in, but simultaneously
But it's the wrong effort.
putting nothing in.
Mm.
He's terrible in the film, I would say. He gets arrested. He's let out. Tim Allen's let out. Goes to talk to his family. He says to his wife, "We're going on vacation to
Oahu.
Oahu."
Yeah.
Oahu.
Yeah, they say it quite a few times actually throughout the film, and by the end of it, they finally get to a green screen. I'd like to say, unless they blew the rest of the budget, the rest of the 90%.
This isn't an Adam Sandler film. I'm pretty sure it's green screen,
Okay.
and you can tell because the final shot of the film, amazing.
Yeah.
It is the worst CGI rendition of a dog I've ever seen on a surfboard, shredding a wave.
Yeah. Oh, ripping it up.
Film ends.
That's it.
That's the Shaggy Dog.
We see like what Tim Allen jumps for a frisbee,
Yeah,
freeze frame. That's it.
Yeah, his son goes, "Dad, go long," and he throws the frisbee, and his dad jumps like rigid body, grabs the frisbee, freeze frame, done.
Yeah. Then our friend Akon shows up in the final scenes, in the final number of the movie rather.
During the credits, and tells us all how we should be feeling.
Yeah.
Like a big dog.
Woof.
Hey.
There we go. And just like that, sorry, we wanted to play the song, but I feel like copyright still exists in this day and age.
I doubt anyone would want to claim the Shaggy Dog, but if they do, we'll avoid it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the Shaggy Dog.
Yeah, that's the end of the film. That's look, we did wait to the after the credits scene. Obviously being the first in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And what we were met with was a black screen. So clearly, I don't know, someone was to blame for this, and I can't quite put my finger on it. Probably Spencer Breslin. I'm not gonna lie.
Here after the film is where I want to bring up my biggest problem with the film.
Sure.
My biggest issue, the most disturbing thing. The film ends, and they're a happy family.
Yep.
Now, I said earlier, Kayang Po, every 7 years is 1 year in his body. And it's established that all things he's injected also live that.
Oh, no.
Now, Tim Allen has been bitten.
Yes.
He's maybe 50 in the film. His lifespan is now enormous. He will watch his children grow old and die. He will watch his wife wither and die as he stays, moderately
Virtually
healthy.
the same.
Yeah. And that's horrifying.
Oh my god. All right. I know we had said during the movie we knew that the Shaggy Dog itself would outlive the family. Which, look, okay, it's obviously that's also quite harrowing, but we're like, okay, at the end of the day, it's a dog, and it's probably not the first time it's happened to this guy, or to this dog rather. But for Tim Allen, this is a man who has finally reconnected with his family, and within the next 10 years, he's going to think to himself, hang on, I've barely changed. Like, almost nothing has changed.
10 years? That's like barely over
just
a year.
over a year. Exactly. And then add an extra 30 years? His wife is going to be pushing it, and then his kids probably as old as him, and he's going to be exactly the same.
So to get to his age of maybe, let's say 80, he died 80. That's 30 years past 50. Now, if
Multiply
it takes
that by
7
7?
if it takes 7 years to age, 1 year, then 30 times 7, that's
210.
210. He will live another 210 years seeing his wife die, his children die, his grandchildren die. It's dark.
What a beautiful existence. Wow.
And the only way to avoid it is to bite his wife and children and transform into this horrific existence where you are half dog, half man.
And they'll all just be consistently turning into dogs for the rest of their lives.
So what do you do?
Yeah. What do you do in that situation?
Tim, really? The Shaggy
What
Dog.
did you do, Tim Allen? How did you solve this problem?
Please respond to us. We'd like to know.
Oh, God.
As we never got a follow-up, and the Shaggy Dog really is a question about what do we do with our family when we live for another 210 years.
Honestly, it's a terrifying experience. So, but he's been living with it, and so I'm sure he'll be sharing words of wisdom with us soon.
And what else was a terrifying experience? This film. It was terrifyingly null and void of anything substantial.
Look, I think obviously there were a couple of pros and cons. I want to quickly run through a couple of cheeky points here.
Okay.
So obviously one of the best pros, Baxter, phenomenal. That's all I'm going to say about him.
Bing. That's a good point.
We've already covered him, and I would say cons. Admittedly, RDJ. I think he was a con of the film.
He brought it down a lot.
Considering how much time there was for him, and considering how high hopes I had for him, he was not good.
He really got acting lessons in those 2 years.
God, I hope so.
Or either acting lessons or, some stroke medication to fix whatever was going on with his face and his voice.
There was just a whole lot happening right there. The CG, for the most part, was there was good and bad. So we can put that as a net neutral.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it sounds like that's about as much as we've got to say on that matter.
Our final verdict. I wouldn't go out of your way to see this again. It's probably best left in your memory as something much funnier than it actually is. Like it's been a couple hours now since we watched it, and it's just most of it's faded from my memory. So there's a few good bits that stick around, but overall, a thoroughly mediocre family film that's really not going to stick around, especially if you hold it in any sort of regards in terms of fun joking around.
Yeah. So now that we've torn it apart for the best part of an hour to an hour and a half, we can just say, don't worry about it. Just enjoy it as you remembered it. I think that's about as much as we can say. Yeah,
enjoy it through this podcast.
Yeah. And no other medium.
And yeah, don't go to any other medium. Not even to the DVD itself. It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
It's really not worth watching this film.
Yeah, so I'm going to put this one back up on the shelf, and we can hopefully never have to put that. We don't have to put that anywhere other than this shelf. That's all I'm going to say for now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess that's
the Shaggy Dog.
Yeah, that's it.
And closing thoughts, very final closing thoughts. The dog that played Kyang Po, it's dead now. There we go.
Shutterstock Music.